Hi everyone, it's me Nessa. So I started playing Wylde Flowers, which follows the story of a girl named Tara who moves to Fairy Haven to take care of her grandma after a string of unfortunate events in her life. This game is described as an adventure simulation game with a dash of magic, as Tara discovers what her grandma has really been up to on the island. I decided that I wanted to document her adventure this time around and see how much progress I can make in 50 days. Since this is my first time playing Wylde Flowers, I don't have specific goals that I want to accomplish, except that I want to do the basics, which include upgrading my farm, making enough money to the point where I'm not struggling anymore, having a variety of different animals, and finding someone I want to romance. Of course, these are long-term goals, and I'm probably not gonna be able to complete them on 50 days, but I'm more than very excited to just go and see where my adventure takes me. With those goals on the stove, but chilling on the back burner on low heat, I start the game. So let's get into it and see what I was able to accomplish in 50 days. I start up the game and get to Fairhaven by ferry on Monday. So you don't get to customize your character during the beginning in any way, but that's soon explained because everything is voice acted and people say Tara's name a lot. I make my way to Grandma Hazel's farm and there's a cutscene where she's totally using magic to do her chores, but I'm not sure whether Tara actually saw it. Grandma asked me to help her plant some potatoes and water them, which right now I'm questioning because it seems like she totally could have been doing that on her own. Still, I do what she asks, and then she has me pick mushrooms in the forest to make a stew. While Grandma's making her mushroom stew, she sends me off to town to meet the mayor, who asked me to play a game of meeting everyone in town. I love doing this in every single farming sim, so I decide to take my task very seriously. The first thing I do is interrupt a whole class to introduce myself to each kid individually. During this time, while I'm trying to introduce myself to the townsfolk, I get a little more of my character's backstory. Seems like Tara was let go from her job, and that's the reason she came to Fairhaven. I take all day introducing myself to everyone, but miss one person because he went into his house right when I got to his farm, and he won't let me in. Very fair, since he's never met me, and you really shouldn't open doors to strangers. So with that, I go back to my grandma's house and sleep for the night. While Tara is sleeping, there's a cutscene where a hooded figure with a mask is trying to throw magic on some thorns in the wood. She didn't see it, but I sure did. Something interesting is going on with this town, and I'm not sure what yet. On the second day, I head straight to the farm of the last resident and was able to meet Thomas. I go back to Grandma after reporting to the mayor, and she has me chop some wood for the fireplace. After that, I go back to town and talk to the residents and learn that I also came to Fairhaven because my grandma's ill, so I'm taking care of her. She seemed really beloved by the townfolk, and everyone always had something nice to say about her, so I think it was a really great way to learn more about who my grandma is and who Tara is. There's not much else to do today because I'm out of stamina, so I head back and I go to sleep. On day 3, I start to suspect that Grandma is doing something really suspicious since she has a trap door under her rug in the living room. I try to confront her about it, but she changes the subject. Also, she has me make some mushroom risotto from a mushroom that I foraged and approves of my cooking skill. Since we both did not get violently sick, I would say that's a win. She asked me to go get her a flower from the forest at night, so I head over to the forest and wait there until the flowers are growing. Once I start picking them, I see a bunch of witches and my grandma going to the clearing blocked by the thorny gate that the hooded person was trying to get to. I eavesdrop and hear that these witches, or whatever they are, want me to join them. They hear me because I'm apparently not sneaky at all, and I get surprised. So I run home and I resolve to ask Grandma about her nightlife tomorrow. But not tonight, because I'm just dealing with too much. On day 4, I wake up and the first thing I want to do is talk to Grandma about what I saw last night. But she tells me that I have to make her tea first before she's willing to talk about it. So I patiently brew the tea, and then she agrees to finally show me what's underneath her trap door. She leads me to a basement where she says that I'm a witch, and the cauldron there is mine. And surprisingly, I'm really accepting of this information. I'm like, oh wow, okay. Grandma tells me that now I need to go to the silver willow tree in the forest and get my wand. So I go and do that. The silver willow tree drops a branch and I make it into a wand. Grandma takes me to the bramble gate and she asks me to recite an incantation, which allows me to pass through the gate whenever I want. Seems like the bramble gate is a security measure to keep people who are not in the witch coven out. So whoever was trying to break into it is definitely not a friend of the coven. I meet the other people in the coven. They're all wearing masks and hooded, so I'm not really sure who they are, but they seem really nice and accepting, I guess. So after that eventful day, I head back and go to sleep. On day 5, the mayor calls a town hall meeting first thing in the morning, so Grandma and I make our way to town hall. The mayor wants the townsfolk to start reporting suspicious activity of people going to the forest with masks and hoods. Grandma's not very happy about this, and she makes it super obvious that she's not, but luckily no one notices. I go into town, I run into Violet. I ran into her on day 4 when she was having trouble with the mayor's wife Vanessa wanting a rush order of flowers, so I helped her with that. Today she told me more about her dreams of opening a boutique. I really like how there are random events with the villagers that let me know more of who they are. I really felt like I understood Violet's dreams. So after that, I focused on my initiation into the coven the rest of the day. The farseer had asked me to bring him paper for my initiation, so I made a paper milk, and then I waited until nighttime to give him the paper that he asked for. After that, he decided that he wanted a squid next, so I guess I'll have to tackle that the next day since it was already getting late. As I'm leaving the coven, Grandma teaches me about the wellspring and how the coven draws energy to perform incantations with it. She tells me that I have to make an offering to the wellspring to keep it going, so I put in some peanuts and it seemed to like that. With that out of the way, I went back home and decided to call it a night. On day 6, I go to the beach and realize that I don't have a fishing rod to go fishing, so I decided that I should head into town and see if anyone was selling a fishing rod. It's Saturday though, so I wasn't sure if anybody would be open. Lucky for me, Bruno, the fisherman, and the mayor's father gave me a fishing rod and also a quest to go fishing for him. I caught him the fish that he wanted and he rewarded me with more bait. So I go back to the beach and eventually catch the squid that the farseer wanted. But it was already really late when I finally caught it, so I decided to construct a new garden plot, plant some tulips, and call it a day. In the past 6 days and going forward, I just want y'all to be aware that I am farming, but it seems like the farming right now isn't taking up too much time since I only have a few plots. So most of the days are spent doing whatever quest that the coven or my grandma is asking me to do. My potatoes are finally ready on day 7, so I harvest them and Grandma tells me to go sell them at the grocery store. The only problem is the grocery store is closed on Sundays. So instead, I decide to just go around town with a bunch of potatoes in my pocket. I pet a cat that I've seen around, and today I thought it might have been Grandma's cat since it was near her farm, but she tells me that she doesn't own that specific cat. Anyways, I decide to head over to the church and Messenger Cameron enlightens everybody with a story about blisters. I'm not really too sure of the church's intentions right now. They seem kind of suspicious because they're all about reaching the peak of something, and it seems like the church would be the prime opponent to be against witches. So I'm pretty wary of them, but they really haven't done anything except do their own thing. I spent the rest of the day in the wilderness foraging and fishing until it got dark. After the sunset, I headed to give the farseer his squid, and he promptly tells me to go back to my basement to make a desk and turn the squid into black ink. I guess I'm going to have to come back again because it's going to take too long to go all the way back to Grandma's farm and then all the way back to the forest again. Day 8 saw the first rain of the game. I didn't have to water any of my crops today, which was nice, and I decided to do some quests on the bulletin board since it doesn't seem like they were set every day. I'm not really sure where herring is, so I decided to just start fishing at the beach to see what I can catch. After sunset, I still haven't really caught a herring, so I just go to the coven and give the ink to the farseer, who then gives me a recipe for the initiation rite incantation. I go home and realize that I need to make more paper since I sold all of my paper to Kai that one day. After making more paper, I craft the incantation so I can bring it to the high priestess tomorrow. It's a bit annoying right now to have to wait until nighttime to complete the coven quest. I feel like I've been waiting every single day to turn in one part of the quest and then getting another part, which I could have finished all in the same day, but then now it's taking me like 4 days. However, I guess I don't really understand how witch initiations go, so I'll just have to continue going along with it for now. On day 9, I learned that crops stay watered the day after it rains, which is really awesome because that means I don't have to water for 2 days whenever it rains. I decided to go into town and talk to some of the villagers. I trigger an event with Kai, who tells me about his first time on the island. It's a funny story and it brings us all together, so that was really nice. I just want to add a caveat here that I don't want to go into too much specifics on exactly what everyone talks about, and there will be some events that I don't discuss us at all, but that's just because, you know, if you end up wanting to play the game by yourself, I want you to also have that wonderful discovery of these characters and their personality. So I'm trying to keep things very general for the most part. After sunset, I officially get initiated into the coven and get my own fancy purple robes. The high priestess informs me that my training will start tomorrow, and I just scream internally behind my mask. Why can't she do the training tonight? Seems like the night is still young and there's plenty of time. She does give me an incantation to increase my speed though, so I guess I'm feeling a little bit better about my situation. I decide to run home as fast as I can and make my first speed boost incantation. On day 10, Grandma decides that she wants to delve into my past love life. Turns out that it's a little bit of a touchy topic since Tara had a fiance who left her with only a note and she hasn't seen him since. Grandma encouraged me to go find someone in Fairhaven and taught me how to give gifts to people. So after that, I guess I start running around and talking to people until nighttime so I can continue my witch training. The high priestess wants me to talk to the acolyte, who tells me to make a miracle grow potion. This means I have to run all the way back home again to make the potion. I'm really wondering why there aren't more cauldrons or work areas in the coven. Seems like a lot of legwork on my part when they just teleport into the coven every day. I grumble about it, but you know, I go home and I make the miracle grow potion and call it a day. On day 11, not too much happens. Natalia has a great idea to open up the mines again, so she asked me to gather materials and talk to Parker. Luckily, I have the materials already ready, so I head over to tell him, and he starts working on opening the mines again. The mines are finished on day 12 and Natalia is super excited about it. She asked me for some iron ore, so I go into the mines to get her what she wants. It was really hard work and I used up a lot of my stamina, but I managed to get her some. After that, I stopped by Lena's store to grab rice and wheat seeds. I planted the wheat seeds and I used the rice to make some mushroom risotto. Since I had a tiring day at the mines, I decided to go to bed early. Otto, the mayor, comes to the house on day 13 to ask for my help to revitalize the ranch. He gives me the blueprints and I stash it away for now because it requires a lot of materials and also 1,000 gold, which I certainly do not have right now. My mining arc continues since I want to get enough iron ores to upgrade my watering can. I haven't found any copper yet and I'm very determined to find the key on each floor so I can go down deeper and maybe unlock copper. I'm thinking it's in around floor 5, so I'm gonna keep trying to go down as much as I can. On day 14, Grandma tells me about Aunt Vivian and how the farm was originally hers. I met with Natalia outside the mines and she tells me about her love life and how she gave up finding any love due to her bad luck. She thinks that moving to Fairhaven is going to change her luck, and I do hope so, although I'm not too sure who I see her with. I spend the day mining and cast a quick speed spell on myself. Getting across town is so much easier now, and I'm gonna be so sad when the spell runs out. Grandma asked me to pick her medicine up from the clinic, so I try to go pick it up, but unfortunately the clinic is closed, so I'll try again tomorrow. Day 15 comes and I'm already going to miss when the spell effect wears off in a few days, but I decide to capitalize on it while I still have it, so I head to the mines for a bit. After being in there for about an hour, I go to see the mayor, who tells me that some supplies were misplaced. He's not really nice about it and it's totally suspicious, but I'm not really sure why yet, so I decide to give him the materials and I don't really think about it anymore. I try to stop by the clinic again to pick up Grandma's medicine, but Amira is closed every time I have tried so far, and that's probably because I didn't check her hours. So I go check the sign and see that she's open tomorrow, so I'll stop by again on Tuesday. Finally, on day 16, I'm able to pick up Grandma Hazel's medicine from Amira's clinic, and she talks to me about my grandma's declining mobility and health. Amira asked me to complete the request that she puts on the bulletin board, and lucky for her, I happen to have some bananas that she requested on me. This makes her super happy that I delivered so fast. After that, I head over to Lena's store to sell some of my crops that I harvested. Her general store levels up and she's able to sell me more things. And I really like this feature of the game so far because it encourages me to sell more things to the residents so that they can stock more inventory in their shop. After running errands, I head home and give Grandma her medicine and then call it a day. Day 17 is a sad one because it is the last day of my spell speed boost. I water my plants and decide to gather materials, so I chop trees and mine stone outside outside the farm. After my stamina is depleted, I run into town to learn more about the faction between the Consciousness Center believers and the non-believers. Cameron asks me to give the Consciousness Center some paper, and Francis, the jeweler, asked me to give it to him instead. Right now, I'm not really sure who I want to give my paper to, but Emmy did talk about how Angus doesn't really share any of his baked goods, so I'm leaning towards giving it to Francis. I talked to Angus to see if he had anything to say about the baked goods, but he just hints that Messenger Cameron is single and that Francis is jealous of him because Angus won't stop talking about the center. So I go home and craft another speed boost spell because I learned that I just can't live without it, and I ponder my paper dilemma a little bit more. On day 18, my speed boost spell wears off, and even though I just crafted another one, I decide to try and go a whole day without using it. Grandma tells me I should reconnect with Lena since she and Parker are going through some issues. Parker is also into the Consciousness Center, so I can definitely see why they're having some issues, because I suspect that Lena is also a witch, but I'm not really sure yet. I do my daily chores and then check my mail to find a letter from the Coven reminding me that I need to tend to the wellspring and not to neglect my duties. Whoops! I guess I've been a little too busy to stop by in the last few days, so I make a note to go make an offering tonight. I spend the day gathering more materials and fishing, and I find the black kitty near the beach and pet her on the way to the woods. I've been seeing and petting this kitty for many days now, so I'm hopeful that maybe one day it will decide that it wants to live with me. In the woods, I listen to Lena talk about how she tries to support Parker, but she doesn't really trust the League of Conscious Mind. I do some fishing while waiting for nighttime, and then I go to donate some peanuts and coconuts to the wellspring. I slowly walk home, already missing the quickness of the speed boost, but I try to push forward without using it. I make another Miracle Grow potion before heading off to bed for the night. It's now day 19, and I pick up my Miracle Grow potion and tend to my little garden. I gather more materials until I run out of stamina and then head into town. Parker asks if Lena has invited me to her Only Girls Allowed book club yet, and I'm a little hurt because I haven't been invited, but I'm sure that she'll invite me eventually. I meet with Amira in the woods, and I think she's flirting with me because she talks about my perfect skin and making sure I don't have bags under my eyes. It could be nothing, but I think it's something. I spend the rest of the time fishing until the sun sets. Then I give my Miracle Grow potion to the acolyte in the coven and talk to the high priestess about my training. She tells me that I'm a novice now, and she wants me to brew a spirit flame potion to bring on summer. I am rightfully confused because don't the seasons just change by themselves? But suddenly I realize why the game does not track days. It seems that changing seasons is a conscious thing that is done instead of passive, so the days wouldn't make too much sense if it was spring 52, for example. I still personally wouldn't mind if the game kept track of what day it was on so I can figure out when my crops would be ready for harvest, and having more than 30 days in a season isn't really a big deal to me. I don't think it breaks immersion. Anyways, I head home to make the potion and see that I need essence of copper. I haven't found any copper ores yet, so it looks like I'm gonna have to go back to the mines. Grandma isn't feeling too good on day 20, so she tells me that she's going to stay in bed. Amira comes to check on her and tells her that she needs to get some rest, and then she tells me that there's really nothing else she can do. I rightfully get upset about that because I think Amira is giving up on Grandma. However, it seems that Grandma does not want to spend her final days hooked up to tubes, and she's refused more treatment options. So it's really not Amira's fault at all. I decide that I need to just leave the house for a bit, so I go mine to find some more copper, but I still haven't found the key to advance to the 5th floor yet. After mining for a bit, I head over to Lena's store where she tells me that Thomas's sister has tried to set him up with people unsuccessfully. She gives me the tea that apparently she and Thomas dated in high school, and Lena wishes that he could find someone because she's married now, but it seems like Thomas does not care. This is definitely juicy, so I'm wondering how it's gonna play out in the future. I spend the rest of the time just talking to other villagers, and I call it a day. The next day on day 21, Grandma is still in bed, and she calls me to her room. She must really not be doing well since she told me that she left me the farm in her will. Lena stops by with some groceries and Grandma asked her to look after me. This is definitely red flag territory. Lena agrees and tells Grandma to get some rest. I'm sad about the news, so again, I decide to throw myself into the mines to find copper. I make myself 3 restorative tea, water my plants, and head over to the mines. I finally find the key to the 5th floor, and like I suspected, that's where the copper was. After depleting my stamina, I go back and cast a miracle grow potion on the wheat that I have growing. I hang out with the villagers. From this, I learned that Vanessa loves fancy jewelry, no surprise. Amira is allergic to shellfish, and Emmy is afraid of losing someone because Sebastian lost his mom and Juliet lost her dad. This really hits harder since I was thinking about Grandma's declining health. Then after the sun goes down, I decide to go to the coven and make offerings to the wellspring so the coven doesn't send me another letter to remind me. On day 22, Thomas comes to visit Grandma. He brought her some firewood and thanked her for being there when his father passed away. I tend to my crops like usual and decide to use my speed boost spell finally because I could just not take being slow anymore. With my feet quickens, I head into the mines, I get more coppers, and then I head straight to Natalia's forge to make copper bars. Unfortunately, I still don't have enough to upgrade anything. Since Grandma mentioned Damon's bar during the morning, I decide to head over there at nighttime. Damon asks me about my life story, and I turn around and ask him about his. He tells me that his parents used to run the bar, but now he does since they went back to Johannesburg. He asked me to plant some potatoes for him because he wants to do a new promotion at the bar. I hang out for a bit longer, and then I decide to head home. Vanessa shows up at the door on day 23 with cupcakes. Grandma doesn't really want to deal with her, so she tells me that I should go and tell Vanessa she's sleeping. I go outside to do that, and Vanessa tells me a really sad story about her friend who passed away from cancer when she was younger. I always find her to be a big mystery, but she really seemed to care today, so that did give her some relationship points with me. After Vanessa left, I watered my garden and headed to the mines. Grandma didn't want her cupcakes, but they sure helped me in the mines. Afterwards, I made more garden plots so I can plant more crops. I head over to Natalia's forge to try and upgrade my equipment, only to find that I was missing wood because I used it all to craft garden plots. Such a bummer. I am out of stamina, so I'll have to wait until tomorrow to chop down trees. I head over to Kim's shop and asked her why she wanted to be a butcher. She told me that she liked the freedom of running her own place and wants to become better acquaintances. I go back home and I plant some potatoes for Damon's promotional dreams and call it a day. It's day 24 now, and I get more of my backstory when I talk to Grandma. Apparently, I lost my job and my fiance in the same week, and that I was really close to getting married. This is a super big ouch, and I really can't believe that Tara, the character, has been so strong coming to Fairhaven and dealing with everything that has been going on, and also dealing with Grandma's declining health. After that surprising chat, I go to harvest the peas that I have in my garden in the rain. I upgrade my pickaxe to copper, and oh my goodness, it makes such a huge difference. Instead of having to hit ore 3 times to get a drop, I only have to hit it once now. I get to floor 8 in the mines before I run out of stamina. At home, I build the distillery and set up an essence of copper potion for the spirit flame potion. On day 25, I learned that there was a generational spat with Grandma and my dad. It seems like there's a lot going on between Grandma and my dad, but it's okay because at least she has me here with her. It's still raining today, so I go out and I get to level 9 in the mines. I come back to check out my essence of copper potion to find that it's done, so I start crafting the spirit flame and head to Francis's shop. He's working on a vintage necklace, and we talk briefly about Grandma's farmhouse and become closer acquaintances in the process. I try to go fishing for another squid to queue up another speed boost potion, but I'm not so lucky today, only finding clams. Oh well, hopefully I'll be able to find a squid tomorrow because I do not want to go back to walking really slowly. Day 26 comes and Grandma tells me about when she found out she was a witch from her Aunt Vivian, who was also in the coven. Since I've been mining a lot, I managed to upgrade my axe to copper, and now cutting down trees has never been easier. I spent some time fishing and making fish fingers to restore my stamina so I can go fishing some more. Finally, I managed to snag that squid for my ink. Looks like speed boost potion is back on the menu. After running out of stamina, I go and talk to the villagers. I meet up with Violet, who gives me kind words since she heard about Grandma not feeling well. After a long day of running around, I go home and call it a night. My spirit flame finished brewing, so on day 27, I decide to give it to the High Priestess. In the morning, I water my crops as always. Having a new watering can is really helpful because I can water more than one plot at a time. I try and move my plots around so that my honeybees can make honey faster. I'm not really 100% sure how to increase their production value right now, but I'm hoping that my new arrangement will help. I make another speed boost. I go across the bridge for the first time to the beach since coming to Fairhaven and harvest some blueberries at the lighthouse. There's not too much going on over here yet, so I think that maybe in the future there might be something. Anyways, I head into town to see Parker looking at Violet's shop. He wants some tulips for his anniversary with Lena, so I give him some that I've grown. At nighttime, I head over to the coven to give the spirit flame to the High Priestess. She tells me that I should finish my task before the season's turn. I'm not ready yet because I still have potatoes that I planted, so I just tell her to hold off on it and I'll come back in a few days. On day 28, my potatoes are done, so I harvest them. My honey is still not ready yet, so I'm hoping that it'll be ready tomorrow. I can't wait for the new season. I go over to Thomas's farm and he gives me some stew. I go fishing for a little bit and then head over to Sophia's diner to give Damon his potatoes. I chop down some trees in the forest and find Amira. Okay, so she's totally flirting with me because she basically said she wouldn't mind sharing a dinner with me. I give her a gift, and then I go to talk to Lena, who thanked me for their tulips. I also give her some wine that Damon gifted me so she could celebrate her anniversary some more. While heading back to my farm, I run into Otto, who tells me that he's disappointed that I'm supporting Damon and he thought my farm would be a good influence in town. Okay, that totally makes me like him less because I was just supporting my bro Damon out. I end the day with some mining and then call it. I am resolved to change the season on day 29 since my other potatoes finished growing. I decided that I didn't want to wait for my honey to be finished after all and decided to harvest all of my tulips. I won't need honey anytime soon, right? I'm definitely going to regret this a bit later, I bet. Anyways, I go and gather more materials and then go to visit Angus at his bakery to give him some of the potatoes and mushrooms that he requested. He gives me a recipe for pierogies and then gives me some croissants, so I would say it was pretty worth it. I head over to Lena's grocery store and she's busy reorganizing the shelves. She talks about her dad a bit and we become better acquaintances. Over at the beach, Kai is upset that his leash for his long board snapped, so he lost it in the waves. He takes his anger out on me a bit, but then he realized what he was doing and we become more casual friends at the end of it. Later that night, I give the High Priestess the Spirit Flame Potion, and the Coven takes their place to complete the ritual. The High Priestess has me pouring the Spirit Flame into a bowl, and everyone in the Coven pitches in to turn the seasons. Outside, I can't see it, but I also can. The hooded figure is back and apparently very upset that we're performing this ritual. I really wonder what their deal is. Anyways, they leave and then I'm watching this cherry blossom tree turn into like a tree with full-on green leaves. Back at home, Grandma tells me that she's feeling a warm breeze and she thinks that her husband came to get her. Grandma says really nice things about me and then tells me that she needs to rest. I am bawling my eyes out right now super hard and trying to be brave, but it's clear that Grandma Hazel has passed on. This part was honestly so sad. I mean, my character as Tara has already gone through so much and now she was losing her grandma too. I'm not really sure if I slept that night because day 30 starts with Grandma Hazel's funeral. Lena says a few kind words about her while everyone is really sad and crying. It doesn't help that it's also super raining today, so everyone's just standing outside really sad. After the funeral, a guy named Wesley finds me and says he wants to pay respects to Grandma. He gives me our family heirloom back, and he said that he is going to go back home, but he doesn't really go back towards the fairies, so I totally think he's a werewolf by how hairy he is, and he's probably just wandering in the forest somewhere. Anyways, the villagers say nice things to me, and they're really upset that, Grandma Hazel passed away. The rest of the day, they also continue to look really sad, which I think is a great touch because everyone is really affected by Grandma's passing. I go to Sophia's diner and Damon invites me to sit with him. He tells me that he's sick of the night owl life like his dad, who would sleep on the couch whenever he came home. He says that he doesn't want his kids to have the same life, and we become casual friends through that conversation. I really like Damon so far. He seems like a really nice guy. On the way home, I finally get to keep that cat that I've been petting for weeks as a pet. It's like she knew that she was needed now that grandma was gone. I also got an invitation from Otto to the summer festival in the mail. I'm not really in the mood for celebrating right now, and I feel like he could have waited a day, but there's a lot of work to be done on the farm, so I start planting my strawberry, corn, and sugarcane seeds. I spend the rest of the day mining so I don't have to think about grandma's passing. After a long day in the mines, I head over to the coven where I give offerings to the wellspring, and then I return home to read the book that Wesley gave me. It seems like it's grandma's journal, so I read for a little bit and find out that Aunt Viv was a witch and grandma had some run-in with fairies. I haven't seen fairies yet, but I'm hoping that I'll be able to do that soon. After reading the journal, I learned an incantation to increase my stamina, so I used it right away. Seems like summer is already starting off really interesting. On day 31, Thomas comes over to visit to make sure that I'm doing okay. He gave me some cotton seeds that I can't really plant because I spent all my time yesterday planting everything in my garden. I'll just have to wait before I can plant them. Darn, if only he gave me those seeds yesterday. Well, I guess he couldn't find a good time to do that since everyone was really sad and it feels weird to give someone cotton. Okay, anyways, today it seems like everyone is back to their usual selves. I go back into the mines like normal and find someone in there this time. There's a pink-haired person that totally looks like a fairy, and we were just talking about this. I remember she was at Thomas's house fixing up something on one of the earlier days, so I totally recognized her. I, unfortunately, am totally oblivious to this and ask where they live in Fairhaven. The totally fairy disappears in a dust of magical goodness, and I'm not even surprised. I just asked where she went and how she knew my name. I'm like, girl, Tara, you are a witch that does magic, who also just read grandma's journals about fairies last night. Could you not have made that connection? Anyways, I mine a little bit until I reach level 11 in the mines, and then I head back to my farm. Of course, I make another speed boost potion and then call it a night. Sophia comes to ask for my help with the summer festival on day 32. She was named summer festival captain and asked me to get some wood for the bonfire. I tell her that I'm excited to help her out and head over to Thomas's house after I water my crops. I couldn't find him though, so I went into town and ran into Emmy and Finn. They want to build a lemonade stand, so I decided to help them. I head over to the clinic to turn in a quest for Amira, and what do you know? Thomas shows up, so I give him the wood that Sophia asked me to deliver. He asked me to grow him some corn to help with more preparations for the festival. Right now, I can't grow corn in my fields either, so I decide to head over to Parker's to see what I need to expand my fields. I need to work on getting more money to expand the fields, but it sounds like a long road since I need 1,500 gold in total. It's day 33 and I was on my way to water my crops when I noticed Parker standing outside of the house. He came by to talk about fixing the old bridge and told me to bring materials and some money over to his garage whenever I want to do that. So I head into town and Lena is teasing Damon about finding someone. Him and I joke about it and we become good friends. After he leaves the grocery store, Lena tells me about her ancestors who lived during colonial times. I never noticed the resemblance to Lena until now, but you really can't unsee it after that. I totally forgot about the goal that I just set for myself a day prior and promptly invest in Finn and Emmy's lemonade stand, as well as use all my gold to fix the bridge. Well, now I'm broke again, so I guess I have to be extra mindful of my goal to get more money to expand my field the next day. It's raining on day 34, so I don't have to water anything. I noticed that I had mail from Otto, who wants me to go to the mountain pass now that the bridge is fixed, and help a new arrival get to town. I head over to the mountain pass to do what he asks, and I find him sitting alone at a picnic table in the rain. I was feeling really annoyed that he made me go on a fetch quest, but now I just kind of feel kind of sad for him. Anyways, I go and find Jiva, the meteorologist, and bring her back to town. It's nice to know that Otto makes everyone play the Meet All the Townsfolk game. Jiva thinks it's a joke in the beginning, but it really isn't. Poor her, I remember being in her shoes only a few weeks ago. With that task done, I focus on trying to make more money, so I decided to go fishing all day. On day 35, I once again spent all my money without thinking by making a fermenter, which I can't even use right now because I don't have anything to ferment. Well, Things are not looking so good for me right now. It seems like I cannot save money no matter how hard I try. I'm super bummed out, but I decide to stop by Thomas's farm to give him the corn that I raised for the summer festival. At least I know the festival is gonna be great because I've been able to finish all the quests so far. I finished that and then I decide to go fishing until nighttime. At nighttime, I go to the coven to talk to the high priestess. She gives me a quest and tells me to go talk to the farseer, who wants me to make a freezing incantation and give it to him in the daytime. So I totally know who he is, but I'm not sure about the other witches, so I think it's gonna be a little bit harder to figure out. On my way home, I run into Angus, who heard that I'm helping out with the festival, so he wants me to grow him some strawberries for his biggest strawberry cake ever. I am totally down to help him since I love strawberry cake. After saying goodbye, I run home to my basement where I make the freeze incantation and another bead boost spell. I know it's kind of late, so I guess I'll have to wait until tomorrow to give it to the farseer, and I just go to sleep. On day 36, I harvest my strawberries and head over to Angus's shop. He talks about his siblings for a little bit. I give him the strawberries to make his shortcake, and we become good acquaintances. I say my goodbyes and head to the forest to give the farseer the freeze incantation. This one was easy because I knew with Shelby all along. Afterwards, I decide that it's really time for me to get serious about making some money, so I head over to Natalia's forge and turn all my ores into ingots. This actually goes really well, and I amass about over 1,000 gold. Encouraged by my new get rich quick scheme, I decide to go mine some more. At night, I head to the mountains and talk to Jiva, who's just walking around in the rain. What is up with people in this town liking to be out in the mountains while it's raining? I guess I can't really judge because I'm also up here walking around while it's raining. So anyways, I decide to head home after that and call it a night. I don't even have footage for day 37 because all I did was literally mine. On day 38, my sugarcane plants are done, so I harvest them and plant sunflower seeds in their place. I turned all my ores into ingots and sold most of them while leaving enough materials to commission the ranch from Parker. He said that it should only take a day or so, so I'm very excited to start raising animals. After that, I obviously end up back in the mines to get more ores. At night, I go to the witch's coven and the high priestess shows concern about Jiva being in town, since she thinks that she might discover witches if she continues to investigate the island's weather conditions. I argued to give Jiva a chance, but I totally understand the High Priestess's stance on protecting the Coven's safety from others. I also don't have any footage for day 39 because I'm just mining all the time, going crazy in the mines all day again. On day 40, I get alerted that there's a new rancher. I go to see him and he's a little suspicious. I'm not 100% sure why. He is willing to sell me eggs and gives me the blueprints to make my own chicken coop, so I definitely add that to my to-do list. Today, I upgraded my pickaxe to silver so I can mine even more now and use less stamina. Of course, I spend the rest of the day mining since this is my make tons of money so I can expand my farm without getting distracted by other things that keep coming up arc. Well, that didn't last too long because on day 41, I promptly got distracted once again since Kim asked me to help them get materials to build an onsen in the mountains. So instead of being in my money-making arc, I spend the day chopping trees for material. On day 42, my honey is finally done, so I can finish one of the Farseer's quests tonight. He had asked me to get him some honey and milk so he can leave it out for the Fae folk as an offering. So today, I get to a floor of the mine where there's a lock and a note on the door. Natalia shows up and tells me that it's a puzzle, so I take a look at the note and it says that someone took the key and will return it at the right time. It's not really a puzzle, Natalia. It says it right there what's gonna happen. Anyways, I guess that means I'm not able to access any more floors. So I decide to go around town and I happen upon Amira, who makes a comment about the new rancher Marty needing antihistamines and also getting bit by animals. This is still, again, pretty suspicious, and I'm wondering why Marty is actually on the island. My suspicions grow when Angus tells me that Marty was standing outside of the bakery taking photos of the food. I don't know why he would do that, but I'm just gonna keep my suspicions to myself right now. I go and find the farseer in the coven. I give him milk and honey, and he says that he will take care of leaving the offering for the fae folk. With that completed, I head home for the night. It's now day 43 and my hops are ready to be harvested. I hope you remember that I made a fermenter during my money saving struggles. If you did, good for you, because I totally forgot about it and I just keep the hops in my inventory the rest of the time. Today, I go to sell more ingots before heading to the beach. Francis is there and tells me about he used to think about his hometown. All this brings us closer and we end the conversation as casual friends. I head over to Lena's grocery store and grab some tomato seeds, which I plant back at home. I mine for a bit until my stamina is depleted and then try the mountain onsen for the first time. It was definitely refreshing, and once my stamina is filled back up, I head straight back into the mines. On day 44, I give my cotton to Thomas and he gives me the blueprints on how to create a loom to make cloth. I make a bunch of cloth with my cotton and find out that cloth sells for so much money. I definitely want to plant a lot of cotton now so that I can bring my mining, grinding era to an end. While in town, I run into Wesley and give him a gift. He's listed as a villager, but I don't think he really lives here, does he? I sell my cloth to Kai and buy some rice at the grocery store before heading home to cook some more mushroom risotto. After selling my cotton, Violet tells me that she was approved for a loan to open her boutique, so she's gonna need some cloth and dye. Really, Violet, you couldn't have talked to me about this seconds ago before I sold all my cloth? Anyways, I start planting more cotton to make cloth and I add them both to my to-do list. Day 45 is the summer festival. I go into town and everyone is just standing there. Sophia puts up some banners, but there isn't really anything to do besides get popcorn from Thomas and the strawberry shortcake from Angus. I talk with the villagers and they're either excited or very apprehensive about the bonfire. After talking to them, I give Otto the signal to start the bonfire and everyone starts walking towards the beach. Sophia gives a really touching speech about the summer festival and makes me the summertide star. I get to sit on a cute decorated chair while Otto starts his speech. I'm not really sure what he says because I just poof away and get teleported somewhere else where I totally would rather be. This place looks super magical and there are some folks who I assume to be fae come out to see what's going on. There's a werewolf and even a guy with backwards feet who I thought was glitched in the beginning until Tara makes a comment about it. The fae folk are really confused as to why I'm in their realm and I'm also confused too. But before we get any answers, I get poofed back to the festival where Otto is still making his speech. He concludes with a declaration that the Fairhaven Culture Committee is going to form to preserve culture and history. There's a lot of questions about this committee, but I think I'm a little preoccupied with getting answers for my teleportation first. So I head over to the coven and talk to the farseer, who tells me that I can't go back to that realm the same way that I poofed, but I should just take the boat. Oh right, I should have just taken the boat. What boat? Apparently, my family has a random boat in the lake that is perfect for traveling realms that I just never saw before. The farseer gives me another quest to create a crystal ball that can tell me the favorite foods of all the villagers. This is super cool, so I go back home and make it right away, but I don't use it just yet. I make some dyes for the ingredients that I found and decided that I need to sleep because I had quite the eventful day. On day 46, I go to visit the boat and notice that it's pretty beaten up. I'm gonna have to fix it, and luckily I have all the materials that I need on me. The only issue is how the boat is going to go anywhere because it's stuck in the middle of the lake. I fish for a bunch of recipes during the day until night falls, and then I go to ask the farseer for advice on what to do next. He tells me that I need to consult with Aunt Vivian, and I'm not really sure how to do that right now, so I decide to sleep on it and see if the answers will come to me. On day 47, my tomatoes and corns are ready, so I harvest them and run straight to Thomas's farm to get cotton, since I remembered that I needed to plant it to get cloth. While coming back, I was still wondering how I could get to the other realm and what I could do. I decided to check my house again, and as I'm going up there, it happens that Wesley is just trying to come and find me because he found some loose papers in the family heirloom that he was mending. It was the exact incantation that I needed, and there's no way this guy isn't the werewolf I met in the other realm. I'm like 100% sure. Wesley leaves and I check the incantation spell requirements. It needs 3 amethysts, which I don't have right now, so I decide to sell ingots at Natalia's blacksmith shop and the silver ingots to Francis at his store. After selling that, I finally reached my goal to get enough money to purchase my garden plot expansion, finally. So I run straight over to Parker's and he promptly ruins my dreams by telling me that he cannot build while there are trees in his roped off area. I go back home to chop down the trees, but sadly I don't finish in time before his garage closes for the night. Man, I guess I'm gonna have to wait till Monday since Parker isn't gonna be open on the weekends. It's day 48, so I decide to mine for the amethyst, but I only find 1. After running out of stamina, I head to the beach to collect bananas for yellow dye, and I run into Kim, who talks about their ex and cat allergies. I go into town to talk to folks since I feel like I've been neglecting them since I've been in my mining grinding arc. I drop by Mira's clinic and yep, she's making moves on me again, despite the fact that we're just becoming acquaintances. I hear you loud and clear, Mira. You wanna get in a relationship with me. I decide to go and talk to more people in Damon's bar before heading home for the night. Can't believe it's day 49 already. I spent the day mining amethyst so I could finally use the incantation on the boat. I should be able to use it tomorrow after it finishes making itself, and it'll be such a great way to end the 50 days. After mining, I use my crystal ball to see what the Farseer's favorite food is, and luckily it's something that I can make because I didn't sell my tomatoes to Lena yet. I make his fish stew and decide to gather mandrakes and other things in the forest until nighttime. After that, I went to the coven to see the Farseer, who was stylishly flying in on his broomstick, and I'm over here wondering if that could be me one day. Tara riding on a broomstick is on the cover, right? So I assume it's gonna be an eventual possibility. The Farseer takes my fish stew and he gives me more crystal ball potions, which I totally appreciate. I go to sleep determined to upgrade my garden and use the incantation on the boat on my 50th day. Well, here we are on day 50. I water my garden like normal and then hop on the boat to see where it'll take me. I didn't actually pay attention to the fact that there's a waterfall right next to the lake. Of course, the boat goes into the waterfall. I end up in Ravenswood where Wesley greets me. He tells me that he is in fact a werewolf and I am totally not surprised or shocked at all. It was the worst kept secret ever. I met the other residents of Ravenwood and learned about the gloaming where the wellspring comes from. I wish that the game took place in Ravenwood instead of Fairhaven because it is so whimsical and pretty here. I walk around and visit Wesley's shop to browse a bit before deciding that I should probably head back to Fairhaven and finally get that garden plot from Parker. After finally commissioning it, I chopped down some trees and foraged for the rest of the day. I really couldn't wait to see whether Parker would finish the garden plot since I was ending on my 50th days and didn't want to leave on a cliffhanger. But it's so sad that he's not done, so we're just going to have to wait. We got a lot done in 50 days and I still feel like we're just getting started. I want to learn more about Tara's journey to become a witch and who else is in the coven. I want to figure out who the masked person is and why they're trying to get into the coven and whether Otto's cultural committee is going to become a threat. I want to start raising animals and planting more crops, but for now it's just going to have to wait because we are at the end of our day 50 journey. If you made it this far, I just want to say thank you. I'm trying something new with these 50-day videos, and if you enjoyed what you've seen, please give this video a like and a comment below. Let me know that this is content that you want to see more of. Or if you don't like it, let me know so that way I don't have to do 50 days. I've been Nessa. Thank you so much and take care. Bye.